the flattened organization, I think, has become available to us because of the enhanced technology that you have mentioned. What it has done is it has permitted the reduction of distance, and distance both in terms of linear distance and distance in terms of time. It has reduced the requirement for the decision maker to decide, communicate, and lead subordinate decision makers and leaders. And so the span of control is really the only limitation with respect to the flatness of an organization. The military traditionally had very hierarchical organizations, and they're still hierarchical. But the span of control that commanders have, the ability for commanders to speak nearly simultaneously with multiple different forms of leadership who are subordinate to them, that's been enhanced tremendously. I would call my leadership style one of a close personal relationship with my commanders, but also my troops as well. I want to feel engaged. I want them to feel as though they are being led by someone who cares deeply about them as individuals, but also cares deeply about setting them up for success in the execution of the mission. So my commanders knew me very, very well, and I gave them the broad guidance necessary for them to accomplish the mission that I would give them. And then I left largely to their prerogatives the execution of that mission within the concept of my vision. But the troops also knew me well, and in Afghanistan or in Iraq, I spent a lot of time down with the troops. And there's an old saying, where I come from in the Marine Corps, a general isn't a general unless he can find the most dangerous place on the battlefield and spend time with his troops there. They have to understand that leadership isn't from some remote location with orders coming from on high in a manner that may be insensitive to the sacrifice of those who must execute that order. I want those troops to see me standing right next to them and sharing the danger of the battlefield with them. So it's an engaged leadership is my style, with my commanders, but also with my troops. A modern day leader in that regard who taught me a great deal about values was a commandant by the name of Charles C. Krulak. He was a man of immense personal commitment to the highest moral and spiritual values of our service and of our nation. And I watched him in action on many occasions where he was presented with some of the most difficult decisions that a service leader, in this case the Commandant of the Marine Corps, may have to face. And generally the first thing he did was to seek counsel of his values, those immutable values that have defined the Marine Corps and defined the U.S. military services and have defined our country since our birth. And touching on those values could embark then into making some of the toughest decisions that a service chief and a member of the Joint Chiefs could ever have to make.
It's a human vision, legacy we want to leave behind us.